Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you to our panellists. We have, of course, Fiona Reynolds, who's flown in from Melbourne this afternoon for this, and Pauline Vamos from ASFA, Russell Mason from Deloitte, Warren Chant from Chant West, Colin McGuinness from Auscol, Brian Gray from JP Morgan, and Michael Dwyer. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Mike Taylor. I'm the Managing Editor of Super Review and Money Management. And the purpose of this roundtable is really to examine some of the current issues confronting the superannuation industry, and I guess one of the most current issues is the Productivity Commission's draft report, which was handed down late on Friday, well actually quite early on Friday. And what it has essentially recommended, of course, is that My Super be used far more as a base for default funds under modern awards than has than is the case at the moment, where you have default funds selected in large part by Fair Work Australia according to the award system. So as a starting point, because I know Fiona Reynolds has a very strong point of view on My Super and the default fund arrangement and the industrial awards arrangement, I'd just ask for Fiona's view on that.
Okay, well I think first of all with the Productivity Commission paper, we've welcomed the paper as a good starting point, and in actual fact they've picked up a number of the things that we've recommended. So we've said My Super isn't enough. You have to have other criteria to address the needs of people within that have superannuation, and by that we mean that, you know, a fund needs to really be fit for purpose. So there's no good having an award if you're in the mining industry or you're in the construction industry, generic sort of fund that doesn't really look after the needs of those members, that they work in dangerous areas, that they need different kinds of insurance arrangements, things like that, just as sort of a starting point. I think also that while there's a lot of criticism of the default system, that the Commission does recognise that in actual fact it's done what it was supposed to do. It was been there as a protection for workers, and the default funds have outperformed. So I think it was 5.6% 10-year returns to 4.4% returns on average. So we're looking forward to sort of the next stage, because I think the report, there's a lot that's left to a second stage. So there's a lot to work through. I think the one thing that really perplexes us in the review, though, is the employer opt-out. So we don't quite understand why you would build a new U-Butte system, make it all transparent, make it all the things that you said it wanted to be, and then go, but now you don't have to use it. So that seems an anomaly to us, and probably one of our key concerns about it. But you know, it'll be interesting to see how the rest plays out. We've got a meeting with the Productivity Commission next week. Then there's submissions, final report due in October. And obviously, I think that the default funds play a really important part, as I said, in protecting workers who don't make a choice, and some workers who do, but in people who don't want to make a choice. And I really think we really need to be careful before we throw the baby out with the bathwater, because this system has worked. That is not to say that it can't be improved. Everybody who's participated in the Commission, in the reviews, has said the system could be improved. So no one's arguing against that, but let's see what the end result will be. But as I said, I think we have to remember that it's there about members to protect members, and that should not be given away easily just to open up a system to other people who want to make more money out of superannuation. And in my view, that's what it's really all about.
Pauline Vamos, you come from a fairly broad-based organisation. What's your take on that?
It's a very broad organisation, because it is the whole industry. I think what is very interesting is the statements made in the report, and one in particular, it says, the stronger super reforms serve largely to standardise features and promote disclosure to improve comparability between funds, rather than filter out any fund which may not represent the best interests of members. And then they also talk about the administration burden on the trustees, on employers. So what we're doing, and I think a lot of people in the industry are doing, are actually looking at a lot of the statements made in the commission. It is over 200 pages long, and it does make some very, very good points. And I agree with Fiona. I think there are some points that I've made, particularly around the review of a default fund once it's been nominated in an award, because what they've said in there is that often the default fund is appointed, well, previously a default fund was appointed to award for reasons other than fit for purpose or in the best interests of those that cohort of employees. But once in, they were there. And so the fact that they've recognised there needs to be a review model, I think is a very, very important recommendation.